So in this video, let's talk about how you can get accepted into the top universities in South Africa. I'm talking about the University of Cape Town, Wits, Stellenbosch University, and the University of Pretoria. And if you can get accepted into these universities, you can get accepted in any other university in South Africa. So I'm going to be sharing with you practical things that you need to do to guarantee yourself a spot in these top universities. And I think I'm justified to give you practical tips on this because my name is Blessing Mlambo and I studied at one of the top universities in South Africa, which is UCT, and I graduated with a distinction in my major. So step number one, you need to understand that grades are everything. You really need to have amazing results in order to be able to get accepted because it's competitive, right? They want the best of the best. So what I'll advise you to do is whether you're in grade 10, grade 11, grade 12, you need to ensure that you're getting an average of at least 70% plus. But if you really want to guarantee yourself a spot, 80% plus is the sweet spot. So if you're in grade 10, make sure that you basically maintain a high average, because by the time you get to grade 11, you really need to make sure that your marks are up to par. Because when you get to grade 12 and you're applying for these universities, you apply with your grade 11 marks. So they really need to be good. So that's the first thing you need to understand. Your grades are everything because it's competitive to get accepted in one of these top universities. Number two, I want you to research and know about the dates of the National Benchmark Test, also known as the NBT, because with most top universities, to get into certain programs, usually your engineering degrees or the degrees under the commerce faculty, you need to write the National Benchmark Test. There are different subsets of the NBT, but depending on the program that you want to get into, the specific ones that you need to write. So what I advise you to do is I need you to download each of the university's prospectus, go look at the possible degrees that you'd like to take, and look at the requirements to get accepted into them. Firstly, obviously, the marks that you need to get, and you need to make sure that you're always maintaining such marks so that you can be considered for them. Number two, you need to check if they need an NBT or not, and which NBT test you have to write. And once you know this, you really need to apply, because most people don't know that you need to apply to write the NBT test. So you need to make sure that you do it in time and you prepare well for the NBT test, because I don't want to lie, it's not I walk in the park. The NBT test is one of the most, I wouldn't say most challenging, but most people really fail it. And the crazy thing is they give you a second chance. If you fail, you can write again until you get a mark that you're satisfied with. So the third tip is you really need to chase bursaries, not the other way around. One misconception that I've seen is most students having this idea that if you get great marks in school, then bursaries are going to chase after you. But you're the one who needs the money, so you need to chase after them. So one thing I can tell you to do is I want you to apply early for bursaries, especially if you want a bursary that's going to cover everything. And by the time you get to university, you're going to be living stress-free. You need to apply for it early when you're still in grade 12. Most of them close somewhere mid-year or they close later in the year, but you really need to apply in order to be considered. I've seen most top-performing students getting great marks, getting to university, and they don't have funding. Now they have to stress about where do I get the funding. There are a couple of bursaries that close beginning of the year, meaning that you can still get a bursary even if you didn't get it the previous year in your matric year, but it's really difficult because imagine how many people are looking for funding. So another great tip I can give you is you need to apply for NSFAS as well, especially if you qualify, because what I've seen most of the times is you'll get certain bursaries that cover up to a certain amount, so there's a cap, right? And if you don't have the cash to supplement, I'll give you an example. Let's say your cumulative fees are 180,000 rands. Yeah, I know university is quite expensive. 180,000 rands, those are your cumulative fees, meaning that it includes your academic fees and also your accommodation. Certain bursaries will tell you that we're only going to cover 100,000 and you need to supplement the other 80,000. If you don't have it, then technically you might find yourself owing the university and being financially excluded the following year. So you really need to make sure that you have a plan on how you're going to supplement that amount. So best thing you can do, apply for NSFAS if you qualify, and if you do get such a partial bursary, you can always supplement it with NSFAS as they can cover the rest. Or sometimes if you have applied for multiple bursaries and you had like maybe let's say 2 or 3 accepting you, some of them do agree to go 50-50 or partial so that they can cover your full study cost, which are things that most people don't usually speak about. So I really want you to apply early for bursaries. Make sure that you chasing those deadlines rather than, or there's no such thing as bursaries chasing you, because they have the money, you need the support. So you really need to make sure that you apply on time, and especially if you want those good bursaries that cover everything and they also support you in a holistic sense. I'll make an example. I was funded by the Ellen Gray Orbis Foundation, which is one bursary that doesn't only cover your finances, but they make sure that you're doing well holistically, whether it's emotionally, spiritually, or whatever it is. They make sure that you're really supported throughout your university journey while helping you obviously to cultivate your entrepreneurship mindset. But if you're not into entrepreneurship, there are 1,000 of other great bursaries. Marshall program, they also support you holistically. You have your NetBank bursary, and you have a whole lot of bursaries, but you just need to apply on time. Tip number 5 is you really need to choose the right degree. And I want to emphasize this because most of the times you find people choosing a certain degree because of the hype, because their teachers told them to study that thing. But when they get to university, they really struggle. Why? Because they in a degree that doesn't match who they are or doesn't match their personality. So you really need to do a lot of research into the degree that you want to study, and then try to get a sense of, is this something that you really want to basically struggle for? Because university is not a walk in the park, right? But if you choose the wrong thing, what's going to happen is the suffering, the hard work is going to start feeling meaningless, and once it feels meaningless, you're not going to be able to push through. That's why you find a lot of people who get to university, they struggle with a certain degree, they change to another one, and then they end up being excluded because they wasted a lot of years studying the wrong thing. So you really need to do your research in terms of, is the degree that I'm choosing right for me? And another thing you can do is online, you can go and take a career test. You usually get certain sites whereby you can take some sort of a personality test, and then it can suggest a number of career paths that you can strive in depending on your personality. So just go online and Google and say career personality test, and then you're going to see a lot of options, free options to do that. Getting into a top university is not luck, it's something that's planned. So you really need to sit down and do the hard work to get into these top universities, because everyone wants to get into a top universities, but only a few are chosen. But if you're willing to put your head down, plan for it, you're definitely going to make it in. My name is Blessing Mulambo, and if you're serious about moving from average to top performing, make sure that you subscribe to this channel. You go to the link in my description to see some of the resources that I will provide to help you move from average to top performing.